Mercury is one of the most toxic metals on Earth. It damages the nervous system, contaminates water, and even small spills require special cleanup procedures. Yet ancient Indian chemical traditions describe something extraordinary. Instead of avoiding mercury, ancient practitioners studied it, processed it, and built entire laboratory systems around transforming it. How did ancient chemists work with one of the most dangerous substances known to humanity, centuries before modern chemistry existed? Welcome back to Geo-Mystic India. Today we explore the forgotten world of Rasa Shastra, an ancient Indian system of chemical processing and metallurgy. Ancient Rasa Shastra texts clearly warn that raw mercury was dangerous and filled with impurities known as doshas. Much of this mercury came from cinnabar ore, its primary natural source. So the goal was never to use mercury directly. The goal was to purify and stabilize it through carefully controlled procedures. Ancient Indian chemists developed a sequence of purification stages called Samskaras. These processes involved heating, grinding, steaming, sealing, and distillation. Some traditions mention 8 stages, others 18. But each process had a name, a method, specific instruments, and a clear purpose. One of the first stages was svedana, meaning steaming. Mercury was wrapped in cloth and suspended over heated herbal liquids inside a device called a Dola Yantra. Instead of direct fire, the mercury was exposed to controlled heat and vapor over long durations. This suggests ancient practitioners understood that different heating conditions produced different effects on materials. The next stage was mardana, intensive grinding. Mercury was placed into a stone mortar called a Khalva Yantra and ground with sulfur compounds, mineral powders, plant extracts, soot, and sometimes brick dust. Why brick dust? Because coarse mineral particles may have helped mechanically separate impurities during continuous grinding, while plant acids and sulfur compounds reacted with surface contaminants. This was both physical and chemical processing happening together. Later stages became even more sophisticated. One of the most important was patana, distillation. Rasa Shastra texts describe upward, downward, and horizontal distillation systems. Mercury compounds were heated inside sealed apparatus. Vapors moved through controlled pathways before cooling and condensing into another chamber. Heating, vaporization, condensation, collection. This is a complete distillation cycle requiring specialized equipment. The texts also describe dedicated laboratory instruments called Yantras, the Dola Yantra for steaming, the Khalva Yantra for grinding, and the Patana Yantra for distillation. The repeated focus on sealed systems is especially important because mercury vaporizes easily. Ancient practitioners clearly understood the practical challenges of handling volatile substances. Now, it is important to stay historically grounded. There is no scientific evidence that these methods removed mercury's toxicity completely or created supernatural materials. Modern science still considers mercury dangerous. But dismissing the system entirely would also be inaccurate. What clearly existed was a structured tradition of experimentation involving repeated processing, controlled heating, specialized apparatus, and careful observation of materials. In other words, long before modern laboratories, ancient India had already developed organized methods for studying and transforming complex substances. Not through magic, but through process. And perhaps that is the real mystery of Rasa Shastra. Not whether ancient chemists possessed impossible technology, but how they developed such detailed systems of material experimentation so early in history. Because when we look closely at the ancient world, we often discover that curiosity came long before modern science. And sometimes, the laboratory came long before the textbook. Subscribe to Geo-Mystic India for more forgotten technologies, hidden histories, and ancient mysteries. The truth is out there, hidden in plain sight.